Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and this is going to be my review for My Hero Academia Season 6 episodes. Yes, I said episodes, as in more than one. Episodes 18 and 19. For some strange reason, I'm not complaining about it, but they dropped 2 episodes in the dub instead of just 1. I figured I was only going to be getting episode 18, and when I checked this morning, there was not only episode 18, but 19 as well for the dub. I was like, okay. Okay, so this is going to be for episodes 18 and 19. And this episode kind of confirmed a few things for One For All. And it showed the rest of the holders of One For All. And 2 of them are still kind of not acknowledging Deku and all this. And those 2 are actually the strongest ones. Well, the strongest quirks that he's going to end up having, I should say. Now, obviously, the quirks he's been using so far are still good because they've been, cultivated and gotten stronger over time. But I'd say his best ones, his strongest ones, I should say, the ones that would essentially make him OP, well, even more OP than he already is at this point, are the ones that are not acknowledging him yet. As for when they will, I'm not sure. I don't know exactly. But I do know that when he does get access to those quirks, hopefully he'll be able to, have a better hold on them, because I'm sure that they'll be telling him how to, utilize them. But he'd have an opponent very hard to find that could probably take him down. I'm probably overhyping it, though from what I've read on those 2 quirks, yeah. If All Might had access to those quirks, he would have easily killed All Might. He would have easily killed All For One, sorry. He would have easily killed All For One, to be honest, if he had access to the quirks. But he didn't. And look at what he was able to do without those quirks. And Deku is able to utilize, Danger Sense, Flow, Black Whip, and now Smokescreen. So that's 4 out of the technically 6 quirks. He's missing 2. Because, as far as we know, the original holder's quirk is a non-combat one, and All Might and Deku are quirkless. So, oh, and that brings me to another revelation that we had on this whole thing. And remember how Bakugo said that All Might had suspicions about the 4th holders? Something about the 4th holder and how he died? He did not die facing All For One. He was the one who knew that he couldn't beat him. So, instead of trying to face him like the others did, he went up into the mountains, I'm guessing, and trained on his quirk to cultivate it for the next holder, because he knew he couldn't win. And that was the one who had Danger Sense. And he found that the reason he died, the others all died, essentially, due to battle, with All For One, I'm assuming. But he died of old age. Now, how is this relevant? Well, next to All Might, he is the one who has had the quirk the longest. Everybody else lived relatively short lives. And that's not just due to the whole in-battle thing. Apparently, One For All is whoever has it, essentially, if they have a quirk, all these other quirks shorten the person's lifespan. Essentially, they die young. And that's why All Might was able to have it the longest and still survive. Before, passing it on, of course. Because he's quirkless. Essentially, you think of it as a glass. And a person's quirk factor is what's filling the glass. And if you try to add One For All to a glass that's already mostly full, it's going to spill over, and essentially the body won't be able to handle that plus the other quirks. Even if they were unable to even unlock the quirks, and it still happened to them. So, essentially, One for All is best suited for a person with no power. Someone who is quirkless, one of the 20%. However, it more than likely will be that Deku will be the last holder of One for All. So this quirk will probably die with him whenever he dies. Which sucks, to be completely honest. It sucks that you can't essentially pass that quirk down through genetics. Through a baby, So this quirk will more than likely die with him if he does not pass it on. So I don't know what's going to end up happening with that. But essentially they asked him, are you prepared to kill Shigaraki if the time came? And he essentially told them in the end that, yeah, I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to try and save him because he seemed like he was suffering because he saw, even underneath all that hate and everything, there was a little child that was crying. And essentially that was a test for him to see if he was essentially, I guess, worthy of holding One for All or something. Because, yeah, this is just, a question. I'm assuming that this is due to All Might still being alive, but why is he all glowy while the others aren't? Like I said, I'm assuming it's because they are dead, and All Might is not. And he can hear the conversation, sort of, through his vestige in One for All. And yeah, I'm assuming Recovery Girl came in at some point after Midoriya woke up and healed his injuries, because he looked like he was in a full body cast, or close to it anyway. And at this point, All Might ends up hearing a knock at the door, and that's Hawks and Best Jeanist. And they come in and try to talk to him about all this and explain that, yeah, we know about something about One for All, but you're the key in all this. We need your information. And All Might takes them both in the room and in private explains to them everything they know about One for All, and how it's connected to him and Midoriya. I wish they'd shut up in there. Anyway, later on, everybody in Class 1A ends up getting a letter from Deku, explaining that his quirk was a gift from All Might, and that Shigaraki and All for One are after it, and thus they're after him. And the reason for this is because he's left UA. Because he doesn't want anybody, because he knows if he stays there, All for One's going to come after him at some point. At some point, this guy is going to want to get his hand on this quirk, and he knows where Deku most likely will be, is UA. So he's left for their own safety, essentially, because he doesn't want anybody else to get... They've lost Midnight. They've lost many other pro heroes. And many of their teachers and comrades have gotten injured severely, I might add, because of this. Heck, Aizawa has lost a leg, and he might possibly has lost an eye. But, yeah, yeah, so that's why... I'm assuming that when Bakugo got his letter, he was pissed. He was yelling, trying to go after him, essentially, I'm assuming. And this is why I don't like letting them have a tab, because they won't stop arguing. Not over the tab, but they're just arguing about stuff that's happening in the game. Anyway. Also in this episode, Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist all have a press conference to talk to the media about everything that's going on. And some of the people who were watching it were like, you should have just denied it. And I'm like, no, that would have been worse, because if it had gotten out that he was actually lying about all this, it would have looked worse for the heroes. So it was best that he did confirm everything and explain that, yes, I was an ass in the past, but I am trying to fix things, and I am going to fix things as best I can with this whole thing going on with the villains and the heroes. And thankfully, they were able to somewhat explain themselves, so don't know if that's going to actually help people's views of heroes at this point, but next episode is when we get the start of the Dark Deku arc. And while this is going on, a bunch of people are obviously, scared and don't feel safe, and they told all the civilians that if you need a place to hide, all the schools in the area that have hero courses, UA, Shiketsu, whatever other high schools there are, they will offer them safety. And so all the students' families, including Bakugo's and Midoriya, so his mother and his parents, are coming there to stay at UA, so they are going to be safe. Thank God. And they also drafted all the... no, actually they didn't draft all of them. The ones who have provisional hero licenses are trying to essentially do evacuations and everything because, yeah, they don't have a choice in the matter. They don't have hardly any heroes left because they've either retired or are injured. Or dead. Anyway, those two, I can't remember what the names, two of the heroes from the provisional hero licensing arc that participated in the exams are trying to get some evacuees out that are being stubborn and not wanting to leave. And they try to get them to leave because, it's dangerous in the area. There have been villains going around and attacking people and hurting people for no reason, just to hurt people. And before they could even do anything after failing at that, Muscular shows up. And essentially would have killed the poor guy who was, fighting him. The guy with the vibrating quirk. The one that Bakugo said was kind of, how did he put it? Putting on a fake smile or something? I can't remember. But thankfully, Deku shows up and saves him. And apparently, like I said, this is the whole start of the Dark Deku arc. And by Dark Deku arc, I mean he's not going full villain. He's going full vigilante is what he's doing. He's going essentially like Batman. And this is essentially like it was, I think, in the past before they established the hero system and everything, where everybody was vigilantes and stuff. I wish they would shut up in there. Anyway, he goes and saves him, and Muscular recognizes his voice, and you can see that Deku's wearing his hero costume and actually utilizing the other part of his chin and the mask, because he never uses the mask. And we see that he's also utilizing, dang it, which one was it? The third user's quirk, I think? Or was it the fifth user's? I don't know. Hang on. Which quirk user was it? He was, the one, I think, before Black Whip or after Black Whip. I can't remember. The one with Smokescreen. He's utilizing that quirk, so now he has Float, Black Whip, Danger Sense, and Smokescreen. He's utilizing all four, and at first I was thinking that his arms were not healed because of the way they looked, but that's just a support item. But yeah, I was like, how the heck is he even moving around? Because I didn't think that Recovery Girl had shown up to help him, but apparently he did, or she did, because we see earlier on, before he had gotten up and left, that his mother had come to see him, and he was up and about, but thankfully because of the way he was using his quirk in that last battle, he didn't render his limbs completely useless, essentially, because they had told him that if he'd done that a couple times, using his arms at 100% like that, then he wouldn't even be able to use his arms. But thankfully, the way he was using Black Whip around his arms and everything, it kept it from doing that. But he's not always going to be able to have that advantage of bouncing back, so he's got to be careful. And at this point, Midoriya essentially tells All Might, go ahead and tell my mom about this whole thing. And they tell her everything that they know about One For All so far. And that essentially he's only able to use it because he's quirkless. And that All For One and the others are after him. And, obviously she's upset about this because he's gone from wanting to be a hero to obviously still want to be a hero, but getting himself in so much danger and so many injuries that she's not able to really take it anymore, and I don't blame her. She doesn't want her baby to go through all that. But he essentially told her that, I'll always come back. You don't have to worry. And essentially that, yeah, he can't exactly run from this anymore. But essentially he told All Might and his mother that he's not going back to UA. And apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but I thought he was going at this all by himself. Essentially that he left UA, he didn't tell All Might or anybody else where he was doing. But no, he's actually got All Might's help. He's got Hawk's, Bestgenist, and Endeavor's help in all this. And so they're working with him to, stop the heroes. Or stop the villains, stop the villains that are running rampant. And All Might essentially is, obviously, well, not happy about this, but he is going to support him no matter what. And, yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting. Because I wonder what the others are going to think now that they've gotten those letters. Because this is not good. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.